Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell. You'll get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And when I'm not asking Bruce, hey, how big was Batista's? Well, you know. One of the things I like to do is help people save money. And if you're watching this video right now and you're in a 30-year loan, man, you're overpaying your single biggest bill and you may not even realize it. I want you to do a little experiment for me. Take your calculator out, multiply your monthly house payment by 360 payments. That's how many payments there are on a 30-year loan. That big scary number, that's your total of payments. You're looking at that number? You know you can do better. Keep more of your own money right now and go to savewithconrad.com. Or maybe you've got credit card debt. Man, it's not a matter of if I can save you money with that. Your average interest rate on a credit card is more than 20%. And by the way, all the interest you pay on those credit cards, it's not tax deductible. Whereas the mortgage interest, well, that is tax deductible. So if you owe this debt, it's up to you how to pay it back. Doesn't it make sense to get the cheapest rate possible and the greatest tax deduction possible? Find out how much money you can save right now for free at savewithconrad.com. You don't need perfect credit. Even scores in the 500s can be approved, and it's no cost out of pocket. But maybe best of all, we're licensed in more than 40 states. We can help more families than ever before. But how much can we save you? Find out right now for free with a quick quote from savewithconrad.com.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When? With the voice of your childhood, Tony Schiavone. Tony, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm all right this morning. How you doing, buddy?
Man, better than I deserve.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, you deserve a lot because we are certainly enjoying what we're doing and going back and taking a look at 1986. And obviously some of our featured players remain the same: Dusty, Flair, Horseman, the Boogie Woogie Man, Shaska, Paul Jones, the Raging Bull, Manny Fernandez, the Rock and Roll Express, Jim Cornette. Am I missing anybody? Oh, the Russians and Magnum. Same players, but pretty good stories. And it's pretty interesting how they kind of meld the storylines here, don't you think? I mean, you'll have Flair talking about Dusty and then talking about Ronnie Garvin as well, and then talking about the Rock and Roll Express, and then the Road Warriors talking about. So anyway, they just kind of, it's not one major storyline, is it? Here.
No, there's a ton of storylines, and I like that they're all getting sort of interwoven. Everybody has their own sort of angle or direction. And I think when people talk about, this is probably important to mention, because I feel like in wrestling so often people think about the two big booms as being, you know, the mid to late 80s and then of course the late 90s with the Attitude Era. And one thing we hear consistently as a compliment about Vince Russo, because Lord knows everybody has their fair share of criticism, but it's not all negative.
Right.
He made everybody on the show had a storyline.
Sure.
Everybody on the show had a purpose. Every match on the show had stakes. Now, maybe he took it too far and there were too many gimmick matches, and okay, that's a fair criticism, I suppose. But what it meant was the undercard mattered and everybody had a storyline.
Right.
And I don't know. I just feel like that is probably a big reason that the company was so hot here. It's not just, well, if there's no Flair and there's no Dusty, what's the point in watching? There was something good with Magnum, and there was something good with Arn, and there was something good with Ronnie Garvin, and obviously the Midnights and Wahoo and Jimmy, and just a ton. So they've made it matter. I mean, to the point that, by gosh, you and I have fallen in love with Pistol Pez Watley again.
Absolutely.
You know, perhaps no better example than that. And Boogie Woogie, as we started the year, I was like, oh, Boogie Woogie. And now when I see him, I'm like, oh, that means Pez can't be far behind. This is awesome.
Yeah. They knew how to, they really, and Dusty, of course, was a booker back then, but they really knew how to make Flair here, make the world champion here, and make everybody want to, you know, everybody wanted a chance at Flair, and that was good because that elevates the world title. And I get it where, you know, you're talking about Vince Russo and everybody mattered. I always thought that was important. I remember back in '89 when I was with the WWF back then, that they had something as small as it may be, but when they would go to a pay-per-view, they would have something on TV about every matchup. Maybe an interview, a fly-in interview. about every matchup. So they tried to elevate everything back then. And that's good. And of course, here's another thing. The guys could really work back then. And again, I'm not shitting on anybody today, but I mean, the guys back then worked every night, and that meant something.
Right.
And we don't have that now. And hopefully with the pandemic continues to release and get better, maybe we will get guys back on the road and girls back on the road to work every day, because that's really important. So a lot of things to unpack here, but it's good stuff. And we're kind of serious to start out our program here, which is unlike you and me.
Well, I mean, listen, we're having a lot of fun talking about all things 1986. And I think the reason you and I are a little more serious today, and I guess we can give everybody a peek behind the curtain, we drop these episodes 2 days early over on our Patreon at patreon.com/WHW Monday. And of course on adfreeshows.com. But I'm saying all that to say some news happened between when we recorded last week's episode and last week's episode went wide everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
One of your old pals, unfortunately, passed away.
Yeah.
And before we clicked record, you and I were talking about him off air, and I realized, hey, we never talked about this on the air.
Right.
So I want to give you a minute just to talk about Mr. Kernodle, who sadly is no longer with us.
Yeah. Don Kernodle was really one of the nicer guys. He was not the best interview in the world, but when they had him work with Sergeant Slaughter, he picked up his game, and he was just a kid from up in Burlington, North Carolina, around that area, that loved wrestling and was a great amateur wrestler, and just a very, very polite young man. Back when I knew him, he was a little older than me, but he was a polite young man, and he passed away at age 71. And I saw the tweet by Dave Meltzer when he said that Don Kernodle was involved in probably the biggest angle ever in the Carolinas in 1983. Now, and this was right before I started working with them. This was the angle with Sergeant Slaughter and Don Kernodle against Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. And that I sent you a clip, and the final battle, or the final conflict, I can't remember exactly I think it was the final conflict, it's on YouTube. It's in 5 different parts, shows the exact match in the cage. And it was Greensboro Coliseum. And it was that night they turned thousands away. Now keep in mind, Greensboro Coliseum was the biggest venue back then. I'm not so sure how many it held. I think it held like 15, 16,000 people. And they turned thousands away that night. And it was just a great match. And Kernodle and Sergeant Slaughter, they moved on. I found a clip of me talking to Don Kernodle. They moved on, and Kernodle, became a baby face, waving the American flag, and faced the Koloffs. And then then that was it for Don Kernodle. In 85, they kind of phased him out, which kind of was, kind of broke my heart, because, and he was part of my growing up. So good guy. Saw him at the and you saw him too at the Ole Anderson. Here's how great a person Don Kernodle is. We all went up, the Ole Anderson roast is what I'm talking about. We all went up and shit on Ole, which is what you should do. Hell, Don got up and started crying about, and we just gave you all kinds of shit. You're crying about Ole Anderson, for crying out loud. Yeah, when you hear about somebody passing, especially when it's a part of your watching wrestling, it takes away something from you.
Yeah.
So, R.I.P. Don Kernodle. And if you go on YouTube and look up, let's see if I can find it here. I think I sent it to you. It was called no, apparently I didn't send it to you. It's called something. The Last Battle, The Last Conflict. It's Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling freaking at its best. Plus, if you listen to it, David Crockett and Bob Caudle called it. And I don't think it was really part of a TV show. But they were calling the action, and it was very good. Very well. A lot of blood.
Well, it's sad to say that thoughts and prayers has almost become a cliche, but
yeah, it has been.
This is a guy that, he was in his prime before I was watching wrestling, but I got to meet the real guy, as an older gentleman just a few years ago in Charlotte at the NWA Legends Fan Fest. He was fast friends with Jay-Z, and I got to hang out with those guys and have a few beers and a few laughs. And what a witty, personable, likable man. And I'm in a weird spot as a wrestling fan because I got to know the man before I was familiar with his work. And as we start to see more of his stuff drip out here that we're watching together, I'm going to have an even bigger appreciation. So I hope that he and his family now have peace and contentment. How's that?
Yeah, I do too. I'm going to put the interview I did with Don Kernodle, which is just a small clip. I'm going to put that on Patreon. It's him talking about the Greensboro Coliseum, and it was actually very cool. I don't know if maybe I can throw up the audio here right now. Let me try, because nope, can't do it. So there you go. Wait a minute, maybe I can. See, I'm not too good at this, as you know, and I should be because I'm on.
You brag about being an audio engineer every week here on the show.
Yeah, I know. All right, here it goes. The funny voice you're going to hear is me talking.
Okay.
And it's a lights-out cage match, flag versus flag. The pride of the USA, Don Kernodle and Ivan Koloff.
Fellow Americans, I appreciate your support, and you've asked for a cage match. Well, here it is tomorrow in the Greensboro Coliseum. Koloff, you know it all started in a cage right here. I'm going to take you, I'm going to run your whole head all over this thing, and I'm going to beat you once and for all right there in the Greensboro Coliseum for all my fellow Americans. I understand that Russia's a little hot at you because you're not getting the job done. Well, let me tell you something. Tomorrow in the Greensboro Coliseum, I'm going to win the flag and the match, and you're going back to Russia.
So there it is. Did you hear that?
That was great.
You're going back to Russia.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. Good stuff. So yeah, R.I.P. Don Kernodle, and I found that, and I thought it was pretty cool. So I'm going to share that, and it's worth watching if you love the history of Jim Crockett Promotions, which obviously this is kind of what we're doing here.
Yeah,
you'll love Don Kernodle and Sergeant Slaughter, and that was, I think, according to what I read from Meltzer. They did that angle so Sergeant Slaughter could move on to the WWE, and of course he did, and became a big star up there. But he was a big star with the Crockett's prior to that.
Well, I don't know what else to say. I wish I had some sort of smooth transition of how to move on to talking about wrestling from 1986, but that is why we're here.
Yep.
We're going to be watching May 24th, 1986, that edition of World Championship Wrestling. Much longer show than we've had recently too, Tony. It feels like the old network version of these shows was trimmed down to like an hour, but here we've got like an hour and 25 minutes. So this should be fun.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing, actually more than anything, I'm looking forward to seeing where we're at with the best of 7 series. I don't think we've announced that. We're just kind of like, supposed to have a press conference coming up. Maybe it's going to be this week with the Russians, because that's what Ivan and Magnum said at the end of the show last week.
Well, without further ado, let's do this watch along here. It's May 24th, 1986, and if you'd like to watch along with us, if I can, I want to suggest that you just check the comments, and there might be something in there that would help you watch along with us. Again, I know this hasn't been uploaded to Peacock, but if you look around, not too terribly far, somewhere in the comments, you'll see a link to watch along with us. And I'm hopeful that this gets back to normal sooner rather than later. I mean, I know that they're still adding stuff. I don't know that you saw, but a bunch of old Wrestling Challenge stuff from 1986 popped up. And it wasn't stuff that was even on the old version of the network. There's even more like new stuff. So like the debut of Demolition and all that, that's all on the network. So I'm glad to know they're working on old archive stuff, but man, I'm hoping they throw up some more Jim Crockett sooner rather than later.
Yeah. And I'm going to go into this again, into this little argument, tirade of mine again. It's on a server somewhere. Do a link to it. Link it.
Plug it in. That was so fun when you flipped it out the other day.
Link it up, fuckers.
Plug it in.
Plug it in. Just it's on a server. It's not like you got to digitize it. It's been digitized. Plug it in.
Let me mention too, we have a big announcement that we should be able to make next week right here on the show. Actually, we might have two, right? Mm-hmm. We might have something that's going to bring a lot of content and value to our show.
Yep.
And then we might have an announcement regarding a pretty special event.
Sure. Absolutely. And I hope this announcement will shut Adam DeMoy up, but I know that won't happen.
I was going to say that's a tall ask right there, my
friend.
I
don't know. I don't know why you and I allowed a troll to be amongst us, but we did. So there you go.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's get going, man. It's May 24th, 1986. Tony, do we have a special countdown today?
We got a real special countdown today. You ready?
I'm ready.
You got to get excited about saving people all those dollars. They can limousine ride and jet fly now with that extra cash.
And they can style and profile with a quick 10-minute phone call right now to 425-0105.
That's 425-0105. Woo!
SaveWithConrad.com.
3, 2, 1, play. This is Baltimore.
Dude, can you believe that just the noise?
I know.
Fans were, golly, they were so hot for this. And as you said, that's the main event from Baltimore, May 17th, 1986, the Saturday prior to this. And now the Road Warriors and Dusty Rhodes are your 6-man tag team champions, besting the Russians. And here we go. Look who it is. Going to be styling and profiling onto the screen, looking only as he can look.
The World Championship Wrestling. I'm David Crockett. With me is Tony Schiavone. Tony, we've got it. We have got new champions, new world champions, new world 6-man tag team champions.
David, we saw a portion of it right at the top of the program. The new world 6-man tag team champions are the Road Warriors and the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And they defeated the Russians, Ivan and Nikita Koloff and Baron von Raschke in Baltimore in a tremendous event.
That it was. We've got all the best wrestlers in the world. And we talk about the change in the world 6-man tag team champions. We look at this right here. This is the championship belt of the world heavyweight champion, Ric Flair. He's standing right there.
What you better do is put that camera on GQ magazine, because this, ladies and gentlemen, before I start talking about professional wrestling, is what's going on in the world of fashion. For any of you young gentlemen in the audience out there interested, you can pick one of these up for about $1,500 at Michael's of Kansas City. Now, let's get back to the championship scene. Unfortunate as it may be, the Russians are no longer the world 6-man tag team champions. And the awesome Road Warriors, we're talking about Animal and Hawk and the great American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, are now the world 6-man tag team champions. But, and don't let me take anything away from them, because to represent the National Wrestling Alliance and be called a world champion in any capacity is a tremendous feat. But I still happen to be, and to the dismay of a lot of you out there, the world's single heavyweight wrestling champion, making $1 million a year, passing through life in jet airplanes, limousines, fine clothes, and any woman in the world I want, just like that. You know why? Because I'm the world champion. And little Ricky Martin, as cute as he might be, with his throngs of little teeny boppers in their training underwear, really isn't getting it done. And Dusty Rhodes, a great tag team wrestler, but Big Dust, you can't beat me. Magnum, you and your motorcycle jacket and your skinny little arms, you can't beat me. Ric Flair, believe it or not, can't be beat. Now, Road Warrior Hawk, with that massive body like a Greek god and the brains of Jethro Bodine. The next time I see you, Hawk, it's going to be Philadelphia. And I'm going to slap you in the face, and I'm going to take that respirator off your back that enabled you to breathe for 30 minutes of what I'm going to hand out, Big Daddy, and that's World Championship form. Woo! Like it or not, I'm styling and profiling, and I'm the best there is.
The heavyweight champion of the world, Nature Boy Ric Flair. We also have a Great American Bash 86 update here today. We're going to talk about a very special city that will kick off the bash. Let's go to the ring.
How about Steve Regal here with George South? This is a deep cut. I don't think we've seen much Steve Regal on the program.
I don't think we have. And this is not Lord Stephen Regal either.
No, this is a different one. Hey,
yeah.
How much did you love? Rick always had these like go-to lines, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And any woman I want. You always knew the big snap was coming afterwards. That was like a crutch of his. I dug it.
Yeah, it was. I love the Jethro Bodine thing about Hawk's brain. For those of you who don't know who Jethro Bodine is, most of you listening here do, but obviously he was with the Beverly Hillbillies and was the quote-unquote meathead, so to speak. There's JJ in the inset. He's going to really bring this match down. So but I love that. And I love the fact that he was talking about how Hawk blows up, take that respirator off your back and go 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That was a little inside baseball there.
Absolutely. It was.
Yeah.
He's having fun.
Yeah, he is. It was good. Good stuff. And you know what? I remember Steve Regal kinda.
Well, here's the thing. He debuted a week prior to this at the Baltimore show we just saw a clip of where the Road Warriors won the 6-man strap. So he's only been with the company about a week at this point.
Yep.
And he's actually going to leave for the WWF on September 4th. So he's only here for a cup of coffee.
Okay.
Mid-May to early September.
Mm-hmm. And did he wrestle as Steve Regal in the WWF?
Say again?
Did he wrestle as Steve Regal in the WWF? I mean,
yeah,
did he?
I believe so. I mean, he didn't have like what I would call a push.
Yeah, because again, that's why I really don't remember him that much. So,
well, you may have seen him before. He bounced all over. He was like a territory guy, but he was everywhere in the mid '80s. Florida, the Pacific Northwest. I think the AWA. I mean, he's a guy that I've seen clips of all over the place.
Right. AWA is where I remember him from, I believe.
But when he goes to the WWF, I think he's primarily like, I think they call him enhancement talent.
Oh, yes. He put guys over. There you go.
And speaking of putting guys over, how about George South here? One of the all-time greats at that, right?
Oh, yeah. And George has trained many wrestlers today. One of his prized pupils and one who really is really a big backer of his is Big Swole, who works for us in AEW. And George, a very Christian guy and a good guy and a guy that knew how to, I always thought guys back in this day who knew how to put guys over were great workers. They all were.
Right.
And George South was one. Gene Ligon was another one. I guess to a certain extent, the Italian Stallion was. But guys that you see, these guys are like our regular enhancement guys, George South.
Yeah.
Some of these guys that would show up on Saturday morning, especially ones that Ronnie Garvin would beat up, they didn't have much experience at all. And so Garvin would get pissed off and then he beat the fuck out of them, which was always entertaining for us.
Sure.
We love seeing guys really get beat up. By the way, speaking of Don Kernodle, Don was trained by Ole and Gene, which means He got shit beat out of him on his training. He was one of those kids from North Carolina who thought he could be a wrestler, right?
Yeah.
And they would take him to like the Greensboro Coliseum, which is now the Bojangles Arena, and they would make him run the steps and beat the shit out of him. And he came back the next day and wanted to do it again. So that's how he became a wrestler. So he went, really, Cornado was the kid going through the school of hard knocks.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess that's why he cried about, oh, here's Magnum with these skinny little arms.
Oh, I've been analyzing this situation between Nikita Koloff and myself, trying to figure out why week out and week on, he comes out here and talks about what he wants to accomplish, about United States Heavyweight Championship, yet they do nothing about it. And I've come to the conclusion that it's all a master plan of Ivan Koloff's, because he realizes that somewhere down the line, his nephew maybe has had a little of the edge taken off of him. When he first came here, he kind of subscribed to the Spartan way of life. He trained in a dungeon, very diligent training, man that stayed to himself. Maybe a little bit of the good life getting into Nikita Koloff. Maybe he's seeing a little bit of a different way of life here in America that he'd never seen before. Maybe he's not quite as hungry as Ivan is to see the United States be put down by the USSR. Well, Nikita, regardless of what's going on in your mind, I know that Ivan won't stop until he sees his nephew unhand this from me. Now, you got a press conference going on. Big things, big news, want the whole world to see us signing. Well, that's just fine too, because we've talked about it just about as long as you can possibly do it. It's time for some action. It's time for all the people out there in the world to see this confrontation. It's time once and for all for United States Heavyweight Champion to meet the Russian Nightmare, meet the challenge that you presented, and watch you go down.
We'll be back right after this timeout.
I mean, I know it's not as tongue-in-cheek and fun as when Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes or Jim Cornette do it, but man, Magnum's got to be right up there with some of the best promos of the time, but maybe not so much with these guys. Tony, why don't you have a little fun with this Russian?
Okay, we're talking better dead than red is what the sign says. I don't know if you can read English or not, Ivan, but he was talking, Magnum was talking about a press conference. Yeah, he was also talking about my nephew Nikita and the fact that he was living the life and wasn't really into it. You see, it's what you call ribbing on the square in English. That's what we talk about in wrestling, ribbing on the square. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the fact that Nikita to my right is in love. He's in love with Miss Alabama. Now, I want to clarify that he's in love with Miss Alabama and not the state of Alabama. They're two different things, because Miss Alabama is like one lady in the state of Alabama. Anyway, so he's not in love with the state of Alabama. He's in love with Miss Alabama. And that's why for a time you saw Nikita here wearing shirts. He wore, oh, look at that sign. He wore polo shirts and button-up shirts. And finally, someone in the back said, "You dumb Russian fuck, show off your traps, show off your pecs, show off your biceps and triceps, show off the muscle." And finally, he got the word that he had to show off his muscle. So now we have him out here in his singlet, and he looks big, and he looks bigger than ever before. But yes, just like every athlete, once a lot of that effort starts coming out the head of the dick, then you're not going to be as, how do you say it? Head of dick. Well, anyway, he's not going to, so. Wait just a second. We want to talk about the best of 7 series. We've been talking about it all the time. You want to talk about that he's been having sex. He doesn't look like the way he's having. So look at him. Look at him. Just look at him. Look at him. He's big. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. Would you stop with that look at him shit? We're looking at him. The camera's looking at him. As a matter of fact, he doesn't even understand what you're saying in English, and he can speak English, and most people can't. Well, here's the fact is, he has been in love, and he's not as focused as he should be. But if they want a best of 7 series, as long as it's okay with Miss Alabama sitting in the front row out here, then it's okay with us. It's okay with the Kremlin. Hey, you know what? Kremlin doesn't even watch this show. They don't even know who you are. Even though you got a green jacket, they don't know who you are. I know you're David Crockett. I know you're one of the owners of the company. And I know that, did you know that I headlined Madison Square Garden one time? Nikita Koloff never did that. Never. Shatoatai, Uncle Ivan. I just want to say that we need to get this over quickly because me and Miss Alabama have a lunch date here in Alabama, Jackson Jills. Yes, that's right. I came to this country. Well, not really. I came from Minnesota and I was in love. And you know what? Think about this. When you're in love, it's the most important part of your life. Not bumping in the ring, not pissing people off. Well, fans, I have no idea what we just said. Let's go back to the ring.
Is that one of the longer Russian promos you've had to do? Like, I felt like it just kept going.
David got involved in it, buddy. And where's our opponent? Oh, here he comes in. Okay. I think they wanted Jimmy to walk in. You know, most people started in the ring.
Yeah.
They wanted Jimmy to walk in.
I almost wonder if that was his request.
It could have been. Yep. It could have been.
Maybe he wanted the pop and he wanted the camera to see him strutting in.
Yeah.
It feels like it would have been his request, whereas some of the other guys were maybe less focused on that and more like, yeah, whatever. I'll just go wait in the ring. I don't care.
Yeah. And he obviously, his music, which at that time, and of course it's not on the network, was ZZ Top's A Sharp Dressed Man, was a very good theme song. And it always preceded him in, right?
Well, and he had these fancy jackets and gloves and
right.
He wants his, I mean, this is part of the act. His girl, you know, patting him down and prepping him and yeah. So it's part of the presentation.
Yeah, I get it. Again, we've talked so much about him, just great family man. I think he had a couple of, I think he had girls. I think he and Patty had girls. I don't think he had any boys. I think they had like 2 or 3 girls. I'm not sure. I'm just doing by memory and don't know.
Hey, let me step out. I think this show we're watching might be mislabeled or perhaps the history of WWE .com doesn't have it.
Oh, okay.
No, you know what? There it is. They don't have a rundown. That's my bad. The history of WWE, by the way, is where I've been looking up the results here, but they don't have a rundown of this show, just the other syndicated show. Yeah.
Really? So the people who run that website are kind of fucked, aren't they?
Oh no, they missed one day, Tony.
No, you shouldn't. If you're going to have a website that chronicles the history of this, or the Brain Buster, it's over. You should have each and every one down. You can load up YouTube and watch it. You can scroll through it. Shouldn't be any trouble. Do your freaking job. Come on.
Your freaking job. All of a sudden you became Mil Mascaris today. Do your freaking job.
Okay.
Promo, here we go. Do you want to hear this one or do you want to check?
I want to hear it. I love Jimmy.
Come on, Tony. You know I'm a busy man. I don't have a lot of time, but I'd like to tell the world that everything I've said out here, I've done. I said I didn't like the Chief, and I said I was going to beat his brains out, and I did. I said I was going to drop him on his head, and I did. Now, you know, he's like one of them big palmetto bug roaches. You hit it on the head, you think you killed it. You come back an hour later, and it's gone. It's crawling around looking for you. Well, Wahoo McDaniels, you remind me of a roach. And I'm going to tell you right now, all these people talk about Indians, how they were raised and everything. You hear about strap matches. Well, the story behind that is the strap matches aren't what you people have seen. A strap match is when you bend a big Indian over and you beat his butt with a big, thick leather strap. And Wahoo McDaniels, I'm going to give you a warning right now. If you don't get out of my gorgeous hair, I'm going to go get one of them straps and I'm going to bend you over right here on national television and I'm going to whip you like your daddy used to whip you.
I don't know if you want to talk about a strap when you talk about Wahoo McDaniel. Let's go to the ring. In the ring now. Nikita Koloff, the Russian Nightmare.
Isn't that great that the crowd, no matter what?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just decades old, the old USA chant.
Oh, yeah, it is.
My favorite is when they would do it, you know, because they hated, you know, a guy from Russia or whatever.
Yeah.
But he'd be wrestling a Canadian.
Yeah.
And they're chanting USA. It's like, come on, guys.
USA. Well, they were telling him, you know, this is where you are, fucker. USA, USA. And so.
But, you know, sometimes it's like we're pulling for the other guy. Now, of course, nobody's really pulling for this guy.
No. I love Jimmy. I'm glad we listened to Jimmy Garvin's interview. Big old palmetto bug, you stomp, you think he killed it, you come back, and he's gone.
It's tremendous.
You don't pick him up and flush him, or like my wife would do with paper towel and flush him. You stomp him. Just let him sit there, and you come back later, and he's gone.
Wait a minute. Lois doesn't stomp the bugs. Lois doesn't capture them and scoot them outside and release them and say, "You're free, you're free." But instead, flushes them down the toilet.
Here's what she does, because she is petrified. I mean, fucking petrified of roaches. Petrified. And thank God, we've got exterminators that come in once a month to try to help us with that. But man, she'll scream. I'll come and stomp it. And then she'll say, pick it up. And I'll say, you pick it up. And she will pick it up and then flush it down the commode. Here's Great American Bash. There's the one from 85. Update.
The Great American Bash, America's birthday party. That's what it is.
And the Great American Bash, as you know, kicks off on July 1st in Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. And what a great facility Veterans Stadium is, David. The Phillies won the World Series there back in 1980. The Eagles play there. The Army-Navy football game is played there, one of the prime facilities in the country. And it's going to kick off the Great American Bash.
And what a kickoff it's going to be, because the greatest wrestlers in the world are going to be there. Also, Joe Ely is going to be there. Daryl McClintock.
Delbert McClinton, fireworks, skydivers. It's a great day just to bring out the family early, maybe have a tailgate party outside, plenty of parking, and then enjoy the Great American Bash, because the very best in wrestling will be there that day.
That's right. And the family is going to have fun. And that's the whole point of it. This is going to be a family affair. It's going to be the nation's birthday party. We want you to join us and celebrate it.
And remember, Veterans Stadium on July 1st, it kicks off a whole month of the Great American Bash. It'll be coming your way in Veterans Stadium. Let's go to the ring.
So Wahoo going to be taking on Butch Cooper.
Butch.
What's your favorite Butch Cooper match?
Well, this may be the only Butch Cooper match, because I think just about after he's going to go through that ass kicking right now, I think he's going to retire from wrestling. Butch doesn't look too good in his tights here. Got a saggy ass tights, And okay, oh God, Wahoo, let me go. Hook up with you again. He took me over. I'm going to try to do a little amateur wrestling with him. Whoops. Oh, shit. Shouldn't have done that. He can amateur wrestle too. Foot on the ropes. God, okay. Just don't shit my pants. Here we go. Okay, you want to lock up? All right, there we go. Oh, shit. I'm tied up. Don't chop me, for God's sake. Don't chop me. Don't. Oh! Okay, I'll sell that a little bit. I'll tie up with. Maybe I should have tied up with him. He's pissed off. Got me in a side headlock. Ooh! He cinched it up. Wahoo. Karen's really a nice lady. I'm going to try these knee lifts. I know they look like shit, but it's the only thing. Oh! Fuck on top of the fucking head. I'll just stay down. No, I'll get up like a dumb fucker. Oh, fuck, not on the pec. I ain't got much of a pec anyway. Oh, help me, you guys in the stands. Oh, he's picked me up by the beard. Oh, God, he's got his thumb up my ass. Oh, God, backbreaker. Okay, I'll stay down for 3. No, what the fuck was my foot doing on the rope? Jesus, I didn't mean pull up. Okay, I'll hook up with you again. Wahoo, you were my favorite growing up. I know. Tell me that story about you walking 10 miles for a case of beer. Oh, fuck. Same pec. I'm blowed up. No, fuck. Okay, I'm going to stay down now. Don't pick me up. God damn it. I was going to stay down. Not the double underhook. Oh, well, that wasn't too bad. I'll stay down now. 1, 2, 3. Fuck. Earned my $25 today, I can tell you that. I'm going to go get a case of beer and tell my friends how I beat the fuck out of Wahoo.
Dude, that might be one of my favorite things you've ever done on the show. The subconscious of the inner dialogue of these enhancement talent. Oh, here we go. We're going to need a nap.
Tully Blanchard and James J.
I don't want to put everything in its proper perspective. This thing with Garvin, I think, has totally gotten out of hand. Ronnie Garvin said he had an injured hand, come out here week after week with with just gobs of tape and who knows what hidden underneath the wrappings of the tape, knocking people silly. Hit Mr. Blanchard every opportunity that he had in a very feeble, desperate attempt to try and take the national heavyweight title. Well, everything failed. And I only took as much as I could. Then I went to Geigel and said, look, let's produce an x-ray. His hand's broken, and let's get him out of the ring till it heals, or let's get the tape off the hand and have him out there competing on the same level with everybody else. So finally, somebody saw a little daylight, made him take the tape off, and it made it a little bit rough for Mr. Garvin because he couldn't push his way around. Now he's changed gears, realizing that he's got to try something else to try and take the national title. So now he's saying, okay, you can tape your fist so I can tape my fist. Well, Mr. Blanchard throws a good punch. He doesn't need to tape his hand. He doesn't need the aid. The fact is he's a national champion. It says wrestling on the belt, and that's what he is. He's a classic wrestler, and as far as I'm concerned, there's nobody here, include Mr. Garvin, that can put his shoulders down for the 3 count. So let's stop the talk about taping fists because, frankly, I don't want to subject Mr. Blanchard to that type of a match where he could suffer a serious injury. As it is, he's finding it very difficult to talk today because he's already been punched in the throat by Ronnie Garvin a couple times, and it's affected his vocal cords. This man's a very popular individual. He should be able to stand out here and say what he wants without the hindrance of having to suffer at the hands of Mr. Garvin.
What's up with that, man? We didn't hear from Tully at all.
Yeah, I don't know what. The only thing I can tell you is that Tully would tell JJ, I don't feel like talking today.
Oh, okay.
You do it all. So that would be it. Because Tully would talk if he wanted to. That's the only rationale I can come up with. And I probably am pretty right on there. You see our Hall of Famer, Teddy Long, taking out the shirts there. And here we go. The Mulkeys. Saw the Mulkeys, didn't we? At boy, time gets away from me, but I was talking about Don Coronado and the Ole Anderson roast and the NWA Fan Fest. And how many years ago was that? It was 16?
I'm not sure.
5 years ago? Yeah, it was right before. It was probably, it's where you saw me and then you came up with the email at the first of the year, I think. So I'm thinking it's 2016.
I'm not sure if you did the event there in 2015 or 16.
Okay, I just did one. I know that. So
okay, well yeah, I mean it may have been.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it was 15 or 16. Jim Valley, who's listening to the show right now, he would know. He was the host that day. And shout out to Jim. I know he recently got to visit with you guys at AEW, and
yeah,
he's had quite the story this last year, and he's got an awesome selection of T-shirts over at Pro Wrestling Tees, and I know that's come in handy.
Yeah, and he had a GoFundMe page that we became a part of, and Jim Valley is, I mean, look, the Butts and Seats story comic book that's coming out, and it's going to come out, in the fall. They're still finishing it up right now. Going to go to the New York Comic Con and debut it there. Obviously, you're in it. Cody's in it. Jim Valley's in it. People who, are instrumental. Tony Khan, instrumental, and Bruce Pritchard is in it. People bringing my career back. And Jim Valley's one of them. Just one of the good guys. He is. There's in this wrestling sport that we have, and I'm talking about in the wrestlers and the people who are outside of wrestling, and Jim Valley, one of them. Obviously, you're one of them. Really instrumental in me coming back. So couldn't do it without him.
We saw a Rock and Roll Express match last week where ding, 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 double drop kick, ding, ding, ding. And now we're actually seeing a match.
Well, if you recall, last week we had an hour show.
Yeah.
And again, I wasn't sure if that was me making a mistake at the end of it, or maybe they just slipped in because we would have a 1 hour championship wrestling show on Saturday mornings. It was called Championship Wrestling. And then the 2 hour show was called World Championship Wrestling. And then we developed a Sunday night show. So I'm not sure if they slipped in an episode of Championship Wrestling or not, but the reason the double drop kick went quickly was an hour show. They had to get it done. And again, the most important part of what we do here on these shows, the interviews, not the wrestling.
Right.
Because we want to bring you into the arenas. But now they are. That guy in front's got his hand on his chin. He's very interested in this match.
It looks like he's setting up for a glamour shot. You remember when like chicks used to go put on the funny cowboy hat and the denim jacket with the shit hanging off the sleeves, the fringe, and they.
Yeah. Did you ever go to glamour shots?
No, I'm a dude.
I went to glamour shots one time.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this story.
No, I did. You know,
did you lose a bet? Was it a rib?
No, I was told that, you know, for your resume, you have to go get a very nice picture made. And I did.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a pass on that.
Okay.
I thought it was like you and Lois as farmers or something, you know?
Here we go, buddy.
Our man, Shaska, let's just track and see if we can hear him yell.
And Shaska's manager, Paul Jones.
That sign you saw right there, I'm sure it speaks for all.
Dude, he just oozes charisma. If nothing else, I'm just so glad we watched 86 for the promos and reintroducing the world and myself to Shaska Watley.
He went over and said, "You sucker," to him. And is this Gene Ligon he's beating up? No, it's not. I'm not so sure who it is. Nah, it's Gene. Gene wouldn't sell like that. He's spitting at him. Yeah, Pez, man.
Talking to Arn over on the Arn show, he says in real life, Watley was a bad dude.
You mean kick your ass, bad dude?
Yeah, not bad person. I mean, you know, Haku like, not to be messed with.
Right, yeah. Well, he's a power lifter.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Can you imagine if he was, you know, 8 inches taller?
Mm-hmm.
You got to think Vince would have had.
Oh, my God.
I mean, the charisma is just tripping off the guy. He's just not the tallest guy in the ring.
Right. Yeah, that's it. If he'd have been taller, you're right, man. If he'd have been the height of, like, let's say, Bobo Brazil.
Right.
He would have been.
He was a mountain of a man, though.
Man, he was something else, buddy. And look at this. And I used to love Bobo's promos, man. And this is back in the 70s, back in my childhood. He used to come in, he said, I'm here at Midland Championship Wrestling for one thing. I'm under the Flairs and the Blackjacks and the old big mulligan. Try to put that claw on my head. I'll give you the cocoa butt. I loved Bobo Brazil, buddy. He didn't do much in the ring. He just kind of stood there, but loved him. Bobo Brazil. Holy shit. It's funny with the names of the past will invoke memories.
Oh, yeah.
This guy's fucking overselling shit. He doesn't want to get up, man. He's just
he's
staying
probably like, hey, pin me, pay me, you know?
Yeah, he's just down kicking his fucking legs. So I'll just pick you up again, sucker.
Well, in fairness, you know, Shaska may have said, now listen, you stay down, I'll come get you.
Yeah, that's
because he's wanting a hot dog to the fans. You know?
You're probably exactly right on that. Good call.
Because you don't want it to go the other way, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Right.
Then it's like, man, he ain't selling nothing.
Right. Now Paul Jones is going to stomp him or do something.
He's probably thinking, thank goodness it's Paul Jones. I know he won't hurt me for real.
Yeah, Paul knows how to work.
I'm just saying, Paul's giving him love taps there.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, the old school guys, when they worked with each other, obviously didn't lay it in as much as they do now.
Of course not. No.
Now they just say, lay it in. And you know what I think this all lay it in stuff came from?
What?
Ric Flair and the chops and Ronnie Garvin. And I think guys go back and look at that stuff and they say, man, Flair used to lay those chops in and Garvin used to lay them in. Let's lay them in. I really think that has an impact on kids today. Yeah. And you think I'm wrong?
No.
There's 1, 2, 3. So now they really hit each other. And it was Heenan would always get angry with the guys that would lay him in or really hit each other. Oh, here we go. Champs.
Let's track it.
American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, to take home the trophy. Congratulations.
Indeed, Tony, it was a great night in Baltimore, Maryland, as the Legion of Doom did just what they said they were going to do. With Dusty Rhodes, we faced the Russians in a cage, and we won the titles, and we're darn happy about it, Tony. I've been talking with Dusty's lawyer, Henry Gonzalez, in Tampa, Florida, and we're going to defend this title within 30 days. We're very proud of this, Tony. And as everybody can see, necessity was the mother of invention. And with Dusty Rhodes and the Legion of Doom, well, look,
Baby Doll is out here with us.
Listen, I hate to interrupt your precious interview time. I know that it's very, very expensive to you. But I just want to thank you guys. I swear I have been to a lot of parties in my time, but the victory party you threw for us in Baltimore was totally awesome. I mean, I have been to some parties and you guys just blew the lid off of all of them. Thank you. Cornette, I'll advise you of one thing. Remember this picture. It could be your doomsday. And also, Dusty Rhodes has named June Kiss a Road Warrior Month. So, girls, they're all yours.
That's right, Jimmy Cornette. Like the lady said, take a look, because you'll never forget it. We're the world six-man champions now. Next on our list are to become the tag team champions of the world. And Ric Flair, since it's Kiss Road Warrior Month, my brother Hawk has somebody like you to kiss. I wish I could tell the people what it is, but TV don't permit me. Ric Flair, in a short time, you're gonna find out how hell-bent and twisted I really am. You're out here, all you're concerned about is girls, girls, and more girls. Well, the only reason you get any girls in any town you go to is because there's a man shortage in every town you go to. And the second reason is, I'm gonna let the people in on a little secret. Another reason you're chasing girls is because your boyfriend Brucey kicked you out of the commune. Dusty Rhodes and the Road Warriors are street people. That's why we won that six-man trophy right here, because we've been on the streets all our life, and we know what it's all about. Tough people come to the streets. Tell that to the Russians. They ought to know what I'm talking about. Now listen up here, Flair. Philadelphia is where we're going to end it all. And another little trophy for the Road Warriors. The championship belt. That's what we want. We want it all, and we'll have it all. Tell them.
We'll be back right after this timeout.
All right, let's unpack there with Baby Doll and making June Kiss a Road Warrior Month.
Wow. That was odd to me.
Oh, so random.
Yeah, that made him soft. Okay.
It's gonna be great right here.
This guy's been insulting me all day, and I can't stand him. I can shut up, you idiots. They got in here for free, but we ought to pay them to leave. Let me tell you something. First of all, I'm upset about several things. Everybody heard, I'm sure you heard, Tony. Baby Doll came out here last week. Baby Doll wants to get in the ring with me, okay? Can you believe that? Baby Doll, I've told you before, the ring is no place for a woman. Now, what you better do is you better think about what's going on, because I'll admit you're a big girl, Baby Doll, but the plain fact of the matter is, just like there's no team in wrestling that can beat the Midnight Express, there ain't no woman in the world that can beat a man at a wrestling match. I don't care who it is. I don't care what the circumstances. The Great American Bash this summer, she wants to get in one of those 70,000 seat stadiums and embarrass me, she said. Well, let me tell you something. Speaking about embarrassment, I'm the master of humiliation, darling. If you mess with me, you might not only get humiliated, you might get hurt. Now, Dusty Rhodes and Magnum T, or should I say the James boys, think they're outlaws from 1870. Well, I hope you're listening, and I hope you realize what the word bounty means, Dusty and Magnum, because that's exactly what it's come down to. My mama has sent me a $50,000 check. That all I got to do, $50,000, you never even seen that much money in print, much less in person.
And all I got to do is give it over to Bobby and Dennis, and all they got to do to cash it is take the mask off the James boys, prove that it's Dusty and Magnum, and then they'll get fined, they'll get suspended, and they'll be out of my hair once and for all. And everybody will know that the greatest team in wrestling is Loverboy Dennis and beautiful Bobby, the Midnight Express.
Well, oh, look at Bobby coming over. Bobby loved messing with y'all, didn't he?
Oh, he did, man. He did. We're having some pretty good interviews here. I going back to the Kiss of Road Warrior month and kissing both of them, and just kind of weird. Don't you think it was kind of odd, the whole thing?
The whole thing was odd. I would have rather seen Dusty out there, but
yeah, me too. And I just think the Road Warriors had that mystique, and seeing them stand with a girl and have a girl kiss them on the cheek was like
kills it a little bit.
Yeah, it does. So
we're crazy animals. We can kill anybody. We're here to hurt people. Oh, hey, look, a sweet lady in a dress.
Exactly.
It's like,
and not only that, how about Hawk's traps?
Oh gosh, they had their own zip code, bro.
There's nothing like them. There's never been traps like them ever.
I think him and Sid probably lead back. You know, they both had, I don't know what happened. It's like they got stung by a bee. You know, they got pumpkins for shoulders. It's nuts, dude.
Yeah. Also, I was talking about what Bobby Heenan said to some young guys, and I'm not so sure who he said this to, but I know I was there. He said, when you punch a guy, don't really punch him. Learn how to do a working punch. And he said, and this kind of always stuck with me, he said, the fans can only see it. They can't feel it.
Right.
And so, again, it just seems like, I don't know, it just seems like there's not enough working punches today. I know they try. I do know. But I guess they want to lay them in today because the fans react to the slap when they hear flash smack. So,
are you fixing to go on a leg slap rant?
No, not going on a leg slap rant, but hey, I'm very aware of it now more than I used to be.
What do you think about Condry's spandex on his forearms and from his knee to his foot?
Yeah.
This is a weird look.
It is a weird look. I love his mullet though, buddy. Dennis Condry's mullet was.
I heard Kevin Nash refer to Shawn Michaels' mullet the other day as a Kentucky waterfall. And I thought, boy, that's hilarious. And here he is. This was his favorite thing to do in '86, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Look at you leaned over like, geez, get me out of here.
And that's going to be you. You like that? You ever had anybody do that to you when you were in the third grade, David? It smarts.
Man, I can't get over Condry's outfit here. I can't make sense of it. He's got on white boots. I'm colorblind. What color would you call his trunks?
They are like turquoise or turquoise. Yeah.
Turquoise tights, white boots, and random, like his Best Hardy Boys impression, these I don't know, sleeves on his arms and in his shins.
And the bandana's still on.
Oh, of course, you can't take that off.
Around his neck. Huh.
You know, I was talking to Arn the other day about gear, and he, in his opinion, sort of matching gear is a babyface thing. And I never really thought about that, but I liked, Demolition or the Road Warriors, or, the Midnight Express, with Stan Lane. They had the black with the multicolor stripes or whatever. I don't know. It just made them a team, Hart Foundation, whatever. And I guess he's thinking sort of more old school, territorial. Guys didn't have matching gear.
Yeah, that's what he's thinking, because as we moved into the marketing era, then they would have matching gear. So,
but I'm saying even here, like Midnight Express, very rarely have we seen them come out and look like a team. And that was my thing, not necessarily like, hey, we're trying to appeal to the girls or the kids or whatever, but more an issue of, sort of the team sports dynamic. Even the bad guys, even the Raiders, even the Yankees, even the Cowboys, whoever the most hated teams were, whoever that was, they still all had the same uniform on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
How about this for a transition to a commercial?
Yeah.
showed the whole replay and we'll be right back on the lower third. That's not what you normally did.
Normally go out with an interview.
Or you at least, you have it's like the inset. So there's a picture and then there's like a graphic. There was no real graphic, just a lower third that said,
right.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, you're right. So I guess letting the Road Warriors do their entrance here, they're probably playing Iron Man. I would think
yeah. And they haven't played it yet because the fans haven't popped.
Yeah.
Let's try.
Or maybe.
Yeah. I don't get why the fans, to me, if you're playing Iron Man, the fans would be all about it. Oh, I feel bad for these guys. What do you think they're thinking right now?
They're thinking, I've always loved you. Don't fuck. I'm going to die. I'm going to fucking die. Oh, at least it was a shoulder block. Don't clothesline me, you big fucker. Don't clothesline me, please. Holy shit. He's got a hold of my balls and my goozle. Oh, God, at least Animal's coming in. Okay. All right. Oh, you're my favorite Road Warrior. You're my favorite Road Warrior. Not that fucking big fucking Jethro Bodine goof. You're my... Oh, boy, that feels cool. The floor of the heat just feels cool. It makes me feel better. Oh, Jesus Christ, when am I going to fucking tag? Oh. Tag, goddamn. All right, here I come, motherfucker. Them long arms of mine. I'm going to hook you up. Yeah. I'm going to smoke a joint when all this is over. Oh, shit, I think I pooted. Who's in there? I don't even know who's in now because I just pooted.
This is my new favorite thing. I love
why did this motherfucker tag me in? He wasn't in for 30 seconds. You go, oh, I give up. I fucking give up. Come over here, you little, I gave up. Where was the fucking referee? 1, 2, 3. Well, had I put it in yellow trunks, you'd have seen it. There you go. Thank God it's over.
Tony Schiavone, you're a national treasure. Why is that so funny? It is, though. Oh, we're back for more.
Jeez, more baby dough.
Oh, and Dusty, too.
Congratulations to Dusty Rhodes, now part of the World Six-Man Tag Team Champions. Here with us on World Championship Wrestling.
It seems Jim Cornette has already talked himself into a battle that he can't win. So he's got this bounty out on the James boys. He can't even figure out what to do with them, much less thinking about any amount of money being able to buy some men that can take the mask off them. It can't be done. So you got to worry about the James boys trying to take off the rest of your neck. And then you got to worry about America's team, American Team Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA. They want to get hold of those World Tag Team titles. We got a lady here that's a whole lot of inspiration, and we got a whole lot of surprises in store for you.
Yeah. Dusty's over here kissing all the girls.
Yeah, you know what? 37 million homes this television goes into. There's 3 people in each home. That comes to 2,800 million people throughout this country. Everybody should be excited about this thing. You know what I mean? People come out here talking on television. They come out here half-cocked. Some of them ain't dressed right. They come out and they hem all around about what's going on. Well, I don't hem all around about what's going on, J.J. Dillon. I don't hem all around, Tully Blanchard, about what's going on. For 9 years, I've been standing out here, the best that walked on this place anywhere. Ric Flair, limousines, whatever it is, you can talk about whoever you want to talk about. The main thing is you got to deal with me. That don't matter what else you do. When it all boils down, you got to deal with me, Jack. And until you do, you can talk all you want. Them clothes, when you're naked, it's like a woman. You stat them on the head, they all look the same, Jack. Now, dear, let me say something to my brothers. Brother Hulk, Brother Animal, and Brother Paul. We grew up on the streets. We came from the streets. And the money we're making is street money, Jack. And my brothers, I'm proud to be the littlest warrior of them all. And the thing is, baby doll, I know one thing for sure, that when Magnum TA and Dusty Rhodes won the World Tag Team title, Jim Cornette, you can bet all your mama's money that it's going to happen, right, honey?
That's right. Jimmy Cornette, why don't you take another look at this picture? Because this may be your nightmare, because you can say what you want to. This is the end.
Hey, and for one thing for Ric Flair, who is so bad, you know, whoa, yeah!
We're coming right back. Don't go away.
Are we ever going to see or hear anything like that ever again?
No.
First of all, it was badass. But
Yes.
then he brought that comedy out. I don't even know what to say. When you're naked and you put a woman's on her head, they all look the same. What?
Okay. He kisses Miss Alabama.
Yep.
He's kind of getting on the fans, I think, a little bit for not cheering loud enough.
Yep.
And I picked up on this immediately. He was pissed off.
Yeah.
And I think he's pissed off at Tully. And I think he's pissed off at Flair. And I think and this goes back to Tully not saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's pissed off Tully didn't say anything. And I think Tully didn't say anything because there's something that pissed him off. And Dusty knew about it. And, you know, there was friction. There was friction backstage with Tully and Flair and the Horsemen. And I don't know if Arn has talked about it on his podcast or not. Arn wasn't as
political
or as confrontational as Tully was. And
Tully was a natural antagonist on and off screen.
Yes, right. And so he was pissed off about that. And he was pissed off that they didn't mention his name.
Right.
You know, Flair mentioned Hawk. Flair mentioned Ricky Morton. They mentioned Ronnie Garvin. So a lot of things there. I could just tell that Dusty was pissed off. And how about Baby Doll? When he said that comment, she had to put her hands in front of her face to keep from laughing. Oh, God.
Oh, he got her.
Yeah, he got her. Look at this. What the fuck?
By the way, on May 17th, Tully, we touched on this last week. Magnum and Tully were in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Dusty Rhodes with the Road Warriors won the 6-man from the Russians. The next day, I don't see where Dusty or Tully were on the matinee show. And 2 days later, at the Fayetteville, North Carolina show on May 19th, it's Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey against Dusty and Magnum. That night, we had another match with Tully Blanchard teaming with Arn Anderson to take on the Rock and Roll Express. In Rock Hill, it was Dusty and Magnum against the Midnight Express. And the San Antonio show on the 22nd, it's Flair versus Dusty. That's really the first time they've sort of brushed up against each other in a while. Because even like the next day when they're in Norfolk, it's Flair and Ricky Morton and then TV here. So the only time that Flair would have been in the ring with Dusty between these two shows is San Antonio, the Convention Center, May 22nd. So 2 days prior to this.
Right.
So, I mean, he wouldn't have been in there with, to your point, Tully or anybody, but you know, he does have, and this is something worth mentioning that we don't probably talk about enough. I know it always gets discussed in a negative way, that, you know, if you're a performer and you're also, you know, sort of a backstage influencer, if you will, writer, you know, booker, whatever you want to call it. A lot of criticism comes on about the way you've booked yourself, but the reality is you've got to not only worry about your performance, but you've got to worry about booking the rest of the cards, handling the politics of everybody, and trying to also serve the owner, you know? So you're trying to serve a lot of masters with, I need to keep the talent happy. I need to keep the fans happy. I need to keep the promoter happy. And once I've done all that, then I've got to go sell some tickets and wrestle myself.
Right. And back then they didn't have a guy who was in charge of talent relations.
It was all him.
Right.
So, you know, he's going to piss some people off. And a lot of that is based on necessity. He's got to, because everybody can't win every match. Everybody can't main event. Everybody can't be world champion.
Right.
But in addition to that, he's also got to cut some guys and bring some new guys in and keep the TV fresh. I mean, his first obligation, some would say, is to the owner. I think it would be to the fans, because the owner's happy if there's a bunch of fans there.
That's right.
So he's got to make the fans happy and give them what they want. But at the same time, he knows, hey, I can count on myself. I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
And I know that sometimes gets criticized, that thinking. And I know that our friend Cody Rhodes gets painted with that brush a lot in those conversations online amongst, AEW haters, if you will.
Right.
But you go back and you look at the AWA, sort of the dying days. Why did Vern go with Larry Zbyszko? It's his freaking son-in-law. He knows he's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And to that matter, I've never had a conversation about it, but I'm sure Jeff Jarrett was TNA champ for a long time, because anybody that WWE wanted to wave some money in front of would gladly leave and take a better opportunity and go make more money. But Jeff's not going anywhere. Jeff's one of the owners, so he's here. So I get that thinking, and I get why Dusty would say, hey, I'm going to put myself there because I know I can deliver, and I know I'm not going to leave for Vince McMahon's rival outfit. Because this is when a lot of guys don't have COD lock contracts. I'm not saying the Road Warriors don't have one or Flair doesn't have one, but some of the other guys, they didn't have a contract,
Did Flair have a contract back at this time in '86?
I'm not sure if he did by this point.
I don't think anybody did at this time. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
But we know they're coming.
Yeah, of course.
The guaranteed contracts are coming. And we've broken that down a lot here on the show, where on the success on the heels, I believe, of WrestleMania 3 is when that became sort of the in fashion thing to do, because they realized, hey, we can't compete with the big paydays they're getting for quote unquote dolls. I mean, the action figure checks were legendary. Those stories were, and people still talk about the Iron Sheik payoffs for those. So when that, starts to make the rounds, wait a minute, he's attacking him after the bell.
I know. This is Joel Deaton, Thunderfoot.
How about this? Let's track it. You never see this.
Yeah.
The hand is back. Mark it down.
I mean, listen, I'm not trying to be critical, and I know Joel Deaton's probably your BFF.
No,
but
he's
a right hand from Ron Garvin, and Ric Flair lays flat of his ass like he's been shot.
Right.
A right hand from Ron Garvin, and Joel Deaton just powders and goes to the back.
Yeah, I know. Something wrong there.
Yeah. Here we are, man. The Italian Stallion and Rocky Kernodle taking on Ric Flair and Arn Anderson. How about that old school black and white robe?
Oh, man. I love that robe.
I don't know why that one always stuck out to me of these old schools. He had a pink one that was like that too.
Okay.
Big gold belt. Looks like it's got the bend already in the top there. I thought it happened in '87, but I thought I saw a reflection there that made me think maybe the top was already bent a little.
Huh. Have to check it next.
Stallion starting out. Of course, he's your close personal friend.
Yeah, fuck him.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. I never had a problem with Cortinelli. He was. I just really. You listen to some stories from Matt Hardy. You won't like him.
You've alluded to that. I've never asked him.
Yeah. So I was thinking about talent relations guy that there wasn't back then, and there could have been. Tully, you said Tully was not on the show. There was a big show. And one weekend he wasn't on. He was off. When you run down the cards.
Oh, no. I'm just saying, you were sort of, I don't know, maybe deducing, maybe that's the right word.
Yeah.
That Dusty was pissed off at Tully.
Yeah.
And so I was looking to see, hey, did they have a match together? Was there, maybe they saw each other on the jet or whatever, but I was just wondering, was there something spilling out of an angle or a TV or a match or whatever? And I can't tell where they were together. Let's see what Flair's doing.
What happened was he was losing control.
I thought Flair was walking over to talk to you.
I did too. What I was thinking was that there was always a complaint, and especially from the top guys who made a lot of money, there was a complaint they didn't get enough days off, that they worked all the time. So I'm thinking that if Tully is out there not saying nothing, being pissed off, and Dusty's pissed off at him, and all of a sudden Tully's not booked, Dusty would probably said, all right, fuck her, take a fucking day off. Just trying to reason. I don't know. I want to say something about talent relations.
Yeah.
There was no talent relations person back then, and it was tough. And talent relations is tough. I think probably JR is going to go down as the best talent relations guy ever.
Yeah, no question.
And the talent relations guys got a lot of heat. because they're the one that fired him and hired him.
Sure.
Of course, Vince would approve it. I get that. But I had said something to Cody when we were first starting. I said, why don't I deal in talent relations? And he said, well, everybody likes you. That may be good. And then he said, I talked to Tony Khan about it. And Tony said, nah. He said he doesn't want you to get stressed out in the first year of this. So they all knew that talent relations is not a good job to have because of all the things you got to deal with. And now you got to deal with, guys, especially in AEW, you got to deal with guys that, they come to you if they've been approached by somebody to sign autographs or
right.
Or even do an independent show, and you got to be the one to say yes or no. So it's a thankless job, but dealing with the problems back then, Dusty had to deal with a lot of problems, man. And I think one thing that Dusty did was, and this was really came into play here, he had just won the World Six-Man Tag Team Championship, but he did not wrestle on TV with the Road Warriors.
Really?
Wasn't that odd to you?
It is odd. I don't know that I knew that.
Yeah. Dusty, I don't think Dusty ever wrestled in the studio. Except for that one time. I mean, he wrestled as a member of the James Gang, right?
Right.
But and the one time where he got,
I don't know that I put that together until you just said it, but he has primarily been doing promos and run-ins.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Dusty's thought was, I'm a star. Okay.
TV exposure.
That's exactly right. You need to come to the arena. You need to pay to see me wrestle.
Well, then why, hypothetically, why is Flair on here then?
Yeah. Because Dusty booked him on there. And Flair didn't like it that he was booked on TV.
Isn't that so crazy? I mean, by today's metric, if you're not on TV, you're dead. Right.
Right.
But back then, no, don't put me on. I mean, I guess promos, but if you want to see me wrestle, you're going to have to buy a ticket. But there he is.
Mm-hmm.
Talking that trash.
I know.
Can I tell you something about Dave Silva right fast?
Can't wait.
Dave Silva recently shared that his favorite wrestler growing up was Arn Anderson.
Okay.
And, not a surprise for me and you. We've seen him fangirl and have crushes.
Sure.
But then when somebody, I don't forget who, said, hey, that's awesome. Clearly they're calling bullshit. But why was Arn your favorite wrestler? And I will never forget his answer. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
Listen, I could get if you're like, oh man, he had that badass spine buster, or, I love the gourd buster, or, I love that he was a bad guy and he was beating people up, or I loved his promos. I get all that. Here's what I like. Silva goes something like, well, as a chubby guy, I really felt like, he was closest to me. I could relate to, he was relatable. He wasn't like all in shape and jacked up. And as he's telling this story, I just put my hand up and I said, hey, please don't ever share that story with Arn Anderson. And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, that's inside voice stuff from now on. You basically just said he was my favorite wrestler because he was fat. He said, oh, no. I mean, he was good, but you could tell there was a butt hanging. I'm like, no, that's it, Silva. Let's just leave it at that. He was good, but your favorite wrestler can't be everybody. Happy Humphrey would be everybody's favorite wrestler, or the One Man Gang, or, Loch Ness or Roadblock.
That has given me so much ammo for backstage at AEW next week.
Dude.
It has given me, because I'm going to go to Arn. I'll say, Arn, why were you always the favorite of all the chubby boys out there?
Oh God. Listen to you.
I'm going to hit him with it. I said, he'll probably go, what do you mean? I said, just common knowledge. I don't know.
They're talking smack from the ring.
Yeah.
Out here. Hey, how about the Rock and Roll checking some of this out, right?
Yeah, they are.
Calling for the Rock and Roll Express to come out, and here they come. Ricky Von Robert gets it. Wait a second. They stay. We've got to go to a break.
I love David. We can't go to break. And you yell, I'm sorry. That was the original. We gotta go.
That was the original one, wasn't it?
The Rock and Roll Express, they came in and went after Ric Flair and Arn Anderson. They really took it to him. Then Tully Blanchard came in, J.J. Dillon. It was good. All right, let's see. We go back. Let's go back and watch it. See, we have it.
David, they're trying to get Robert Gibson out.
Let's see.
And he's in a bad shape right now.
Is. We want to see exactly what happened.
There's Wahoo, and there's Magnum, and Ron Garvin, Jimmy Valiant, and Robert Gibson is in a lot of pain.
Tully Blanchard. Ric Flair stretched him out, put the figure 4 on him.
Put the figure 4 on him, Flair did. And Blanchard came out here, and JJ came out here. And
I'm out here. Let's get this match started.
Wait a minute.
Everybody wants to see the Army. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's get to the ring. Let's go the ring.
Well,
bring on the opponent.
Wait a minute.
Well, we're ready. Let's go to the ring.
They don't have the tape up.
Boy, our thoughts are with Robert Gibson right now.
Tony,
he was seriously hurt.
You should see what happened.
God, I love David Crockett. He's so excited.
I know. We didn't see what happened.
There's no replacement for enthusiasm.
No, you are right. You are exactly right. There's no, and that's what all announcers try to do. I mean, that's what made Jim Ross so great, was his enthusiasm for the big angles, right? The way he sold it. And funny here that we're saying we're going to show it and they never show it unless they're going to show it later. I can only imagine Tommy Edwards backstage and Dominique is his tape guy. And he's going, God damn it, Neek, cue up that goddamn tape. Cause he used to cuss Dominique all the, oh, hold on. Track this.
Oh, sure. Here we go.
And I got all my hair. I'm going to tell you another thing. Jimmy Valiant, you ain't nothing but a low-down yellow coward. I can understand being scared. I can understand because of that man right there, because of myself, and because of the genius of Paul Jones. The thing is, he leads the Army, and the Barbarian, along with Baron Von Raschke, we are the ones who gonna control the wrestling world, and we starting off shaving the head of you, Jimmy Valiant. That's right. It's going to be onslaught after onslaught. Jimmy Valiant, you are the marked man. We're going to take you down. Look at our leader, Paul Jones. One of the best, the greatest manager, the most intelligent managers in all of wrestling. He's taken us, Tijo Khan, the Barbarian Chaska, and the Baron, and molded us into the superior athletes that we are. Look at the Barbarian. It's done by Paul Jones, taking it to his opponent. Think about it, Jimmy Valiant. You're going to face us one from after the other.
Drop kick. Big drop kick.
I love drop kick. And then he goes right back into it. You're trying very hard to say, hey, can you let me do something here? There's a match going on.
I'm going to tell you what, Jimmy Valiant, I remember you way back when. I remember when you wasn't a star, when your big toe was biting at your little toe and you was wearing biscuits for shoes. Well, let me tell you something, Jimmy Valiant. You're going to be seeing the biscuits again. I guarantee you that. I'm going to make you a bald head geek, and everybody in the whole wrestling world is going to know that you is a low-down, yellow, stinking dog. I said it before, and I say it again, King of the Hillbillies, you ain't nothing but a tobacco chewing, snuff dipping, breath stinking, undercover hillbilly. And if I say it once, I say it 1,000,000 times.
Breath stankin' undercover hillbilly. But my favorite thing of the whole deal, your big toe, your little toe, you're wearing biscuits for shoes. That is an Arn Andersonism. It feels like something Arn would say.
I think he said your big toe is eating on your little.
Yeah, eating your little toe.
It's not Dummy Bird. The whole Army has this whole building surrounded.
It's Paul Jones.
We have to surround it.
Lord, this is the thing that just will never end.
I know.
We got to have Barbarian end this. Why haven't we heard from Tony's uncle yet?
Oh,
Prisoners, look at the power of the Barbarian. The power.
Boy, I could do without that.
yeah. I just.
My God, Shasko's on fire. Biscuits for shoes, buddy. That's hilarious.
That is tremendous. Oh God. Wow. This is a pretty entertaining show, man.
Sure.
It was pretty, it was very apparent. And this is one of the things that great flying headbutt. It's one of the things that made it a great show. It was apparent there was friction backstage, and that is friction that was flowing over from whatever happened Friday night or whatever happened during the week. So yeah, makes for good TV.
Back with the World Championship Wrestling, welcoming with us Mr. Electricity, and his first time here at the World Championship Wrestling, Steve Regal.
Well, thank you, Tony. I want to let you know what a pleasure it is to be here in the NWA with Jim Crockett Promotions, the #1 wrestling show in the world, the #1 wrestlers in the world. The competition here is fast and furious and fierce. You know, I'm not going to get out here and tell you how big or how bad or how good I am, but I will tell you this. I've wrestled all over the world for the past few years. I have perfected my craft. I have mastered my profession. I love my sport. Now, that's not being cocky. That's just a fact. Now, let's talk about all the people around here. You got the Road Warriors. You got Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA. You got the Rock and Roll Express. Blah, they make me want to throw up. Now, what happens to good guys like Jimmy Garvin, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard when they get in, the people start chanting rock and roll to distract them? I don't like that. I don't like rock and roll. And, you know, the Road Warriors, they're the only guys I know that have to wear paint to hide their face. You know, I think they're scared to show their face. You know, everybody says you should be scared of the Road Warriors. I ain't scared of the Road Warriors. I'm not scared of anybody. I'm here to make a name for myself. I don't care if it's Dennis Brown. I don't care if it's Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, or if possibilities come about, I team up and go against the Road Warriors. It doesn't matter. And let me leave you with one last thought, Tony. You know, there's a lot of people up north with pale skin that live in blizzard country, and they live up there, and, you know, they don't know how to talk to people. Well, let me tell you something. I have a long time leaving, and I'll be a long time gone. You can take that to the bank.
Okay, Steve.
Boy, that was not a great promo.
No, but I think he was ripping on Vern Gagne at the end.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, and also he talked about Denny Brown. I don't know why he threw that name out.
Well, he wrestled him.
Yeah, for some reason I'm thinking that
his first match in the territory a week before was against Denny Brown.
Okay.
And I think they were going to do something for that junior heavyweight, whatever.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But still, you could tell, like, when he started listing up, look at this guy.
What the fuck am I watching? Bald-headed German.
Dude, that guy looked lost. That looked like the guy that Bischoff used to say would be front row at center stage. Like, it was always just like hobos who just wandered in because it was somewhere, you know, in the summer it was somewhere cool, and in the winter it was somewhere warm. They just wander in.
Yeah. Yeah. God, center stage. Center fucking stage. Jesus. Yeah. Have you noticed that Miss Alabama's moved down to the corner there?
I see her over there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think she moved around a little bit there. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, back to Steve Regal. For some reason, I remember Steve Regal and Jimmy Garvin being a tag team. That may have been in the AWA. For some reason, I'm remembering that. I'm not sure. But yeah, that wasn't a good promo. And not only that, you notice he kept looking at the wrong camera. All right.
Well, it's his first time here.
Sure. And they kept pointing to the right camera, and it was subtle, but they kept pointing to the other camera, and he all of a sudden you could see is like, what are they pointing at? And he kind of looked at the crowd real fast and then realized they're pointing to the camera. It happened in a split section. You got to go back and watch that.
Hey, but you're exactly right, by the way. Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin teamed with Mr. Electricity, Steve Regal, and in '85 in the AWA. With the help of the Freebirds, they beat the Road Warriors to win the tag titles because the Warriors are coming here.
Now,
and a month later, Kurt and Scott Hall, Kurt Hennig, former future Mr. Perfect, and the future Razor Ramon, would take those straps back. And so I guess Garvin came in, said, "Hey man, here's a soft place to land. Tell Vern to stick it and come down here."
Yeah.
Worked out a little better for Garvin than it did for Regal.
Yeah, it did. But, you know, Vern had a lot of heat.
Rocky King kicking out here.
All promoters had a lot of heat.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be a promoter and not have heat.
Well,
Everybody
Vern,
thinks they should be champ. Everybody thinks they should make $1 million. Everybody thinks they should fly first class and work less dates. Blah, blah, blah.
yeah, well, Vern was owner and booker, right? Or what? Did he have a booker?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he had some help with Greg Gagne.
Huh.
I don't know, whatever that means.
Yeah. Look at this. He picked him up and slammed him. So Baron giving Rocky a little something here.
Dude, he's eating him up.
Yeah. Baron knew how to talk, man. He could talk. He knew how to call spots. Just the way the way his mouth was, it looked like he was good at that, man.
Yeah.
He has a very, very, Jim Rashke has a very, very deep voice anyway. And doesn't, in real life, doesn't speak up. It's amazing. You hear him talk. You hear the Baron, then you hear him. It's unbelievable. Same way with Ivan. They're giving him some time here too, man. Some time in these matches. Never did see Robert Gibson getting hurt. Unless we're going to show it a little bit later on. Maybe they're going to show it when Flair comes out. Because I think he's coming out a little bit later. But never did. And we wouldn't have called for it had they not asked us to call for it. You know?
Right.
So something fucked up. And again, look at the fucking Baron, man. Jim Rashke, great amateur wrestler from the Midwest, coming through here with some shit.
Giving Rocky King a lot of time here.
Yeah, man.
Let's remind everybody what's coming up later this same day. You guys are going to run Cincinnati, Ohio, and it'll be the Road Warriors versus the Midnight Express. The next day, there's a matinee show in Cleveland with Flair and Robert Gibson on top. How about that for a odd pairing? We get Dusty versus Arn Anderson, Magnum TA versus Baron Von Raschke, and the Midnight Express working with the Road Warriors. So it's an interesting set of opponents, a different sort of slate of matchups.
Yeah, I think they did the Flair Robert thing based on that angle we just saw.
The next day in Greenville, South Carolina, it's an interesting look. It's Dusty, Ricky, and Robert taking on Ric Flair, Tully Blanchard, and Arn Anderson in an elimination match. And in it, Morton would defeat Flair by DQ to win the match when Anderson and Blanchard attacked Morton in the ring. And after the bout, Morton was triple teamed and suffered the broken nose, which we're going to start seeing on TV, I assume, next week. By the way, the day after that, it's the debut of Big Bubba. So we see Ray Traylor on TV here working enhancement matches, but he's finally going to get his big moment, but not before we hear from the Nature Boy.
Man, Arn Anderson and the world champion Ric Flair very happy about it.
Tony Schiavone, what you just witnessed is Robert Gibson getting in bed with the big dogs. You understand what I'm saying? It's real easy to come out here and pick your opponents, Gibson. You want to get in bed with the four horsemen, then you got to pay the filler. Now, Dusty Rhodes, I want to hit you real hard right now because the bashes are coming up. And you're talking about coming out here and standing women on their head. You're talking about being the dealer. Well, all through tradition, Dusty Rhodes, in order to be the dealer, you got to hold the cards. And as you see, here are the cards, along with Tully Blanchard and the Midnight Express. So you want to be the dealer, Rhodes? Forget about being tough on a local level. Right. Come get the big dogs. That's right. But Dusty Rhodes is the toughest guy in studio wrestling I've ever seen in my life. You come out on your big dog and tell them how bad you are, that I got to deal with you. Well, this is the dealer. This is the dealer. And it's mine. And little bitty Ricky Morton knows it. And Gibson knows it. Ha, ha, ha. That's right. A lot of guys try to walk the line. And you know what? They get their butt beat. Because when you go to bed with the big boys, you're going to feel some pain in the morning. You understand? Now, Road Warrior Hawk. Let me tell you something, buddy. I've walked over better men than you to sidestep a good-looking gal on the way to the restroom. What you don't like about me is that I'm rich. I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. You know where you were born? In the gutter. You're trash. You grew up lifting weights while I was whining and dining. Ooh, beautiful women. And let me tell you something, buddy. Listen real close. You are Chicago gutter trash. I am affluent society. We are the world champions. And Hawk, when I see you in Philadelphia, at the 30-minute mark when you're going, please, Nature Boy, finish me off. I can't lift these big arms. And then in the words of the great one, what's causing all this? Woo!
We'll be back right after.
Is that the most fun Arn and Rick have had doing a promo together that we've seen?
By far.
That was them in real life right there, what we just saw.
They're just, man, this thing with Dusty has fired him up today.
Big time.
I'm going to. You know something? I'm sure everybody saw Baby Doll out here earlier going on, making idle threats that she came back up just like Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA, or should I say the James boys, having to hide their faces because they're not men enough to face somebody in a broad light of day. Something shit. You know, Tony, for weeks I've been coming out here. I want the decision of that match they won on television reversed. I want them fined. I want them suspended. Somebody should do something, but nobody's doing nothing. But that don't make any difference because I ain't going to quit asking until they do. Mother sent down a check for $50,000 to the Midnight Express. All they got to do is pull those masks off and get Dusty and Magnum suspended, and they got that bounty. And it may go for anybody else who wants to do the job because you never know when a James gang's going to pop up. And I'll tell you one more thing, Dusty and Magnum. You think you're trying to hornswoggle us, getting us in these bunkhouse matches, challenging us all the time to bunkhouse matches, right? Because that's their specialty. They want to stack the deck. Well, let me tell you something, Dusty. You know, last week we were down there in San Antonio, Texas, right down there where Dusty's from. And I took Bobby and Dennis to one of those real live Texas ranches, and I took them to a bunkhouse, and I got them all fixed up in the bunkhouse clothes and the boots and the spurs and the ropes and the belts, and they played around with that stuff for a little while just to get used to it. And then I stuck them in a rodeo arena, and there, staring them straight in the face, was the biggest, baddest Brahma bull in Texas. One of them big old bulls with those big eyes, and he was snorting, and he was spitting, and he went charging at Lumberboy Dennis, and Dennis took that big right hand and drilled that bull right between the eyes. He went down like he'd been shot by a cannon. And then when the bull looked up and said, "Please, Jim Cornette, don't let him beat on me anymore," that's when beautiful Bobby come off the top of the barn with that big knee. And he pinned that bull for the 3 count. And that's the same thing that's going to happen to Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA. And then we're going to take those masks off, and they're going to be out of my hair. And nobody is going to be able to dispute the fact that the Midnight Express are the greatest team in wrestling, and the James boys will never try to perpetrate those evil deeds on me again.
The manager.
Well, I love he's getting the fans fired up. I think one of my favorite things I heard from that promo we just heard with Arn and Rick. Mm-hmm. I loved Arn using the phrase "tough on a local level."
Yeah.
Like, oh, you may be a badass in your town.
Right.
But our badassery is on tour. Have badass will travel.
Loved Arn's beard too, man. Boy, that beard was really trimmed, really nice.
I loved he's the inventor of the pencil beard, which is why I love it so much. I loved his face when he knew where Rick was going, that Hawk was going to be blown up.
Yeah.
And Arn looks right at the camera and goes, his facial. I hope when Silva listens to this 6 months from now, because he's way behind, I'll start using that in the graphic, that screen grab, because that was hilarious.
So we now know it's Flair and Hawk in Philadelphia, basically, for the first bash.
Which, you know, listen, that I can see why that's a draw.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, it's a draw.
Boy, Jimmy didn't even bother taking his shirt off.
No.
Just walked around, shook a few things, lay down, kid. I think if I was an enhancement talent, and I showed up to TV here, I'm hoping I get to work Boogie Woogie. right?
Man, Jimmy
Yeah.
Vann to talk with us this time. We've talked with Paul Jones and his army. They're in full gear right now, Boogeyman.
Tony! When it rains, it pours. What the Boogie Woogie Man needs is 2 big eyeballs right in the back of his head. You see, I need 4 or 5 arms, 4 or 5 legs, because my dog Paul Jones and his army, when they together, I got a lot of worrying to do. A lot on the Boogeyman, because you got Pistol Piz Wale with some scissors. You got Bear Von Roscoe with the black glove. You got the Barbarian with the hardest head, the cranium, the hardest head in the world. And you got Tijo Gijo. All right, now, this is where it's at. There is going to be a haircut, you understand? Do you understand?
Yeah, I do.
See, I got a weapon, you understand? I got some clippers, and it's going to come out with the Boogeyman from now on. And I got Willie Willie, woo, Musty Billy Billy. I got the Raging Bull. Okay? Paul Jones, I don't hate you, Daddy. I swear I do not hate you. But I will say one thing. If you were in a desert and that sun was 150 degrees and you were dying of thirst, Paul Jones, Gospel Daddy, I come by, I would not even spit in your mouth.
We'll see you next week on World Championship Wrestling.
I think he was trying to twist a piss reference
Yes.
into a spit reference, and it didn't work. But my favorite is tonight, right before we go to bed, I'm going to ask Megan, "Oh, is it hot in here? How many degrees did you set that? How many degrees is it today? What's the high? How many degrees?"
You know what? I was thinking about this, that I'm standing there holding the microphone thinking, man, what's he going to do? We've covered the entire year week by week now, and he hasn't kissed me yet on TV. So I think he did most of that in 85.
I think it happened once.
No, it happened a couple times.
No, I'm saying I thought we saw it once in 86.
Oh, you really? Okay.
I thought so, but
Okay.
I'm not sure. But here's what I am sure of. We're going to be back next week with 1, maybe 2 big announcements. And of course, we're going to keep the train on the tracks for all things 1986 as we march towards the Great American Bash. And I can't wait to see Big Bubba on the A side. That'll be kind of fun coming up soon. But right now, Tony, it looks like it's about that time.
It is just about that time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Belly Bump Championship of the World. Dave Silva against Arn Anderson. And both combatants come to the ring. Arn's feet look very, very odd. His boots look very... Oh, wait a minute. Dave Silva has dropped down, and he is eating Arn Anderson's boots. My God, he's got biscuits for shoes. And Dave Silva's eating those. Oh, we can't watch this. We got to go. We're desperately out of time. We'll see you next week on What Happened When. On Mondays, we come to you on ad-free shows and Patron. But on, can I start that again?
No, adfreeshows.com and all that. We love you folks. But right now, Tony. I love you for that. Check it out. Patreon.com/WHW Monday. And of course, adfreeshows.com. Some of those promos today gave you an aneurysm. Your brain just shut off right there.
It did. I thought I got to write this shit down now, I guess.
We're desperately out of time. See you next week, guys.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.